I saw my first casualty of war at 5 years old. In Liberia, they were child soldiers.
Your dad was the Secretary of State of Liberia.
Yeah. Liberia is founded by free slaves who left America and went and settled in West Africa. My father was in jail as a political prisoner. I used to lie down on the floor listening to bullets go by at night, and I would just picture being in America. America is the most desirable country in the world. And America also taken more immigrants legally than any other country on earth.
What is the story of you coming to the U.S.? All right, welcome to another episode of the Don't Do Nothing podcast. Today I have an amazing world traveling guest, somebody from, so it's Mr. Martin Matthews. He's actually from Liberia, grew up in a war zone. Okay, pretty amazing. We're going to talk about that. He has since then immigrated to the U.S. Citizen?
Yeah.
Citizen of the United States. Proud citizen.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's founded a financial services company with his lovely wife. He is a drug-free world ambassador and has a team of 179 volunteers in Liberia who distribute material and hold events and go out in the streets and actually promote like not using drugs.
Absolutely.
Seems like a pretty good thing to promote, right?
Definitely.
He's also a husband, a father, and he just happens to be a Scientologist. Martin, welcome, dude.
Thanks, Brad.
I'm so happy
Appreciate
you're
you having
here.
me here, man.
Yeah, it's
Looking
fun.
forward to it.
Okay, so let's start with Liberia.
Yeah.
What what's the backstory with? Obviously, you're born there
Yeah.
in a war zone. What is the story of you coming to the U.S.?
Yeah. Well, the context to understand even Liberia is founded by free slaves who left America and went and settled in West Africa.
What?
Yeah.
Hold on. So people were brought to America as slaves, and then they were freed.
Yeah.
And then they went. Okay, got it. What time frame?
1847 is when Liberia was established as a country. So
Okay.
at the time, it was the only independent republic in Africa. Everywhere in Africa was colonized except Liberia. So it's actually called the Lone Star of Africa.
Well then,
Yeah.
I feel like they should just like team up with Texas or something.
Totally.
Texas is the Lone Star State.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so wow, that's amazing. I didn't know that. So early Civil War time frame. Okay, sorry. Continue.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's the genesis of Liberia. So Liberia is made up of people who went back from America as free slaves. And there's indigenous people, so there's different tribes, right? So my tribe, I'm a mix of free slaves who went back to Africa, hence the name Martin Matthews, which is a Western-sounding name and not a traditional African name. But then I have a middle name, Ayayi.
Dude, I got to tell you, sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
I was so curious as to whether I've been wondering this actually probably since I found out you were from Liberia when you told me in the tea lounge that one night. I was literally like, is Martin Matthews really your real name? Like, is it like...
One night I was out somewhere and I told a guy, yeah, Martin Matthews. He said, where are you from? I'm from West Africa. He's like, that's not an African name.
I mean, it's really
So, yeah. But I'm named after Martin Luther King because my father admired these African-American leaders. He came here in the 60s to go to college. So he admired these African-American leaders. So he named me after Martin Luther King.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But his last name is Matthews, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
cool.
which is now a Western name because part of on his father's side, he's descendants from free slaves that went back to Liberia.
Yeah.
And on his mother's side, he's from the Bassa tribe. So my father kind of grew up in these two worlds of these people who came, these kind of westernized people who left slavery, went to West Africa, and the Bassa tribe on his mom's side. So that was this interesting dynamic he grew up in because he kind of grew up between these two worlds, really understanding different people there.
Is it very split in Liberia, just in terms of like the culture?
It used to be more so. So historically, you had they're called Americo-Liberians. Traditional, they call Americo-Liberians, right? They ruled the country for over 100 plus years. They were in power for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And then in 1980, a traditional guy overthrew the government. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, so it became this whole thing where for this long period of time, this one group was in power. And now all of a sudden, just like overnight, literally.
Wait, that happened in 1980?
1980.
You know what's so weird about that is that's the same year that the government of Iran was overthrown.
Yeah.
By basically the fundamentalist like Ayatollah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Coup were popular around that year.
Apparently.
So.
That's actually kind of weird that it was like two countries, same. Yeah.
people start getting ideas. They're like, oh, it's happening over there. Man, maybe we should do that over here. So things like that
Yeah.
end up happening. So
Wow.
that's kind of the story of with Liberia, how it formed.
Yeah.
And then my father and my family's role in that. So my father was a political leader in Liberia. He's actually considered the godfather of multi-party democracy in Liberia.
Oh, wow.
So he after 100 years of one political party in power, he was trying to bring different ideas and say, well, we should have more than one political party.
Mm-hmm.
Let's contest elections and bring the ideas from indigenous people or bring different ideas. And he called it a competition of ideas. And let's see which ideas won with the people.
Yeah.
And so, it got to a point where the people ran out of patience and they overthrew the government. And so then
while he was trying to handle this?
Yeah, while he was trying to kind of make peace. My father was in jail as a political prisoner in Liberia.
Wow.
He was put in jail. They used to beat them in jail.
Mm-hmm.
And so he basically, after he helped to form a kind of a political movement in Liberia, and then later he became the Secretary of State in the country.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of the genesis of Liberia, kind of his role. And this is the environment
Your
I later
dad
grew up
was
in.
the Secretary of State of Liberia.
Yeah.
That's
twice.
amazing.
Yeah.
Twice?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, and so fast forward to you guys come to the United States. Wait, what year was he the Secretary of State? I'm kind of like piecing together how this would go.
Right after the coup in 1980, because these guys.
After?
Yeah. So right after that, they asked him to assume that role. So he was the top diplomat in the country, and it was a sudden change just overnight. Like literally, in the middle of the night, they go and they overthrow the government, and all of a sudden you wake up the next morning, it's a completely different government, and it can be a little chaotic.
Yeah.
And so people don't really know what's happening in this country, what's going on there, and so he was like asked to be in that role, so he was in that role, and later in the early '90s. He assumed that role again when there was kind of in the thick of a war going on in Liberia. So they asked him to try to bring peace there, was to assume that role of Secretary of State again. So he took that role a second time.
Okay, so rather than being an ambassador, like I think of the Secretary of State of the U.S., it's really an ambassador to other countries. More the focus there was internal. Is that right?
The Secretary of State is in charge. You could think of a Secretary of State as in charge of all the ambassadors. So the Secretary of State is your top diplomat in the country. So in many ways, they're in Liberia is called a foreign minister. And their role is to go to other countries and help promote Liberia, to create relationships with other countries in Liberia, really to be a diplomat. And sometimes you're doing a lot more work than other times, because when he was Secretary of State the second time, we were in the middle of a war in Liberia. A civil war has started in Liberia at that time.
Right? Yeah. So but he's like foreign facing, right?
Yeah, so his role at that time
Yeah.
was you have different rebel forces has started to attack in Liberia. And they were attacking the government, they were attacking different areas, they were fighting each other, so it was a very chaotic scene. And the Liberian military, in many ways, was overran. They couldn't really keep these rebel forces at bay anymore. So we had to get foreign peacekeepers.
Oh, got it.
So that was his role. In the early 90s, he was going to other West African countries and encouraging them to send peacekeeping troops to Liberia to help stop the rebels from overtaking the country.
And to support the existing government, not the rebels, because I'm sure that was also a thing of like,
Yeah.
don't ally with the people who are trying to overthrow the government.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was a conversation as well.
At that point, when the peacekeepers came, they already overthrew the guy who overthrew the previous guy.
Okay, got it.
It was a chaotic environment at the time.
Yeah,
right?
it sounds like it. Just out of curiosity, what was kind of like what was the disagreement? Like what was the revolution about?
So you had a group of people that were in power for 100 plus years. And
This is the people who came back from the U.S.
yeah.
Yeah.
And in some ways, you had the indigenous people who were kind of treated as second-class citizens. For example, because my father is made up of both of these groups. He had a relative who had never seen an electric light bulb, and he had another relative who was in the Senate. So he had these two wide ranges of people. And one time he tells a story of how his uncle came to pick him up. His indigenous uncle came to pick him up from his Americo-Liberian aunt's house. And she yelled at his uncle to go and walk and enter through the back, not come through her front door. So you have this kind of class separation of second-class citizens in Liberia. And so that was an environment where, after a while, people start to get upset about that. And so some indigenous people, at one point, they decided, instead of trying to fight for going through elections, they would overthrow the government. And so that's what you had in 1980. And then 9 years later, there was a civil war that began in 1989, where they essentially overthrew that guy who overthrew the previous people. So that was the environment I grew up in. And it was wild and chaotic. I was born in 84, so I was 5 years old when the war started, 5, 6 years old when the war started in Liberia.
Yeah. Did that have any effect on you, or was it kind of just like you're a kid and like, boom, you just came to the U.S.? When did you come to the States?
I came in 2000.
Okay, so a while after.
No, it was traumatic as hell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about it.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So I saw my first casualty of war at 5 years old.
Wow.
So meaning there was a person I saw that was killed in war at 5 years old. So at that age,
for context, so sorry for interrupting you at this moment, but like, I have been in the United States Army and I have never seen a casualty of war. Just for context, most people in the United States Army have not in a peacetime army.
Yeah.
Just for reference, was in the Army.
Yeah.
I've never seen someone killed.
Thanks for your service, bro.
Yeah. Of course. Well, yeah, of course.
So yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Continue. So definitely not as a 5-year-old.
Yeah. So at that age, you kind of have to grow up very quickly and have awareness of the realities of what's going on around you. So, it's like, you could be playing with toys, but if there's a war going on, then you're having to understand, it's not like your goldfish died and your parents kind of telling you about death for the first time. It's like when you see a guy there who's been shot and he's killed and he's not moving, you kind of put it together pretty quickly that this is what could happen. And so I just it was a very traumatic experience. In the 90s, there was war going on there. And then sometimes my family got attacked because of my father's political career. And so it was a very traumatic experience. But it's where things like Dianetics and Scientology actually helped me later in life, because it's difficult to go through. And in Liberia, there were child soldiers.
Really?
So children were captured.
Yeah.
And they were given drugs, so they were drugged. Yeah. And then they were given rifles to go and shoot somebody. And that was the initiation, how to shoot somebody.
Wow.
And so they're drugged, and then they go and shoot somebody.
So literally, like, you see the movie Blood Diamond?
Yeah.
Like, literally like what it shows in the movie?
Yeah.
Wow.
The first time I saw myself, a child soldier, in person, I was 12 years old. And
how old do you think the kid was?
10, maybe.
It's younger than you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he looked like me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I see him, he looked like me.
Yeah.
And so he has in a pickup. It's got an AK-47, and it's like, dude, almost as big as the kid.
The gun. Yeah.
And so I got a reality that I was very fortunate that I wasn't one of the kids who was captured and made into a child soldier, but. That's the experience that I grew up in. There was drugging of little children, making them fight in a civil war. So it was an interesting upbringing, for sure.
What is that? Yeah, I definitely want to get into like Dianetics and Scientology and how that helped you, but just so that I fully understand like the context, what like. Can you talk about what you thought or like how you felt about like that was going? Like, did you feel safe? And maybe that's a stupid question, but
it's interesting the way we grew up, because I grew up with a lot of security people around, but I was in a war zone.
Oh,
so
around you and your family.
Yeah. So at one point, I couldn't go anywhere without a security person, like an armed person.
Yeah.
So like. Before I was even a teenager, you go to the beach and there's a guy with a machine gun walking behind you because of protection, like a police guy or a peacekeeping guy.
Yeah.
And so it was a very surreal kind of upbringing with there were sometimes threats to us, like literally, a guy would walk by our house one day and say, "We're going to throw a grenade in your yard today." That's a threat. So now it's like, okay, we may not sleep at home that night. Or somebody would just come and just say some random shit to us. And now that's a threat to us. Okay, so we used to have this signal where we had a generator where we would sleep with the lights on. You couldn't really sleep fully because the code to evacuate the house was the lights would suddenly go dark. That was your code. And so if the lights went dark, somebody's coming to grab you or security's coming to grab you, it means we might be under attack at our house. So there were a lot of times I was scared, but my thought process was, my first thing was, why the hell am I here?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I was always aware that there was more to me than what I saw in the mirror. So I would look in the mirror all the time. I look at myself and I'm like, why the hell am I here? Why am I in this country, in this place? Why couldn't I have been born in America? Because I would watch American movies and I see the kids playing with all their toys and all this stuff. I'm like, why couldn't I have been born there? Why am I here in this country with war and kids? So that was my questioning about life at a very young age because of all the things I saw. The poverty in Liberia, the war, the killing, all these things kind of made me question, like, what am I doing here and what's my role in all this?
Do you think that a lot of people who were there at the time, especially like kids, had a similar like train of thought, or like did anybody ever talk to you about having like a similar thought, or was it more just like no?
No, it was. My dad was a very aware person, and he and I seemed very familiar to each other. Like, you know, you meet somebody and you feel like, oh, you've known him forever. Now it's like my dad, so it's kind of an odd thing to say. Like, I feel like I've known this guy forever.
Yeah.
But he and I would talk about very in-depth things.
Yeah.
We talk about life. We would talk about societal problems. We would have these really fundamental, important discussions when I'm 6 years old, 8 years old. We're talking about all these things. And so it was very interesting to me being able to have those kinds of discussions with him. We would talk about diplomacy. So we would talk about diplomacy when I'm 8 years old, 10 years old. And I would go with them to conferences. Sometimes you go to these conferences. They would call them peace talks.
Yeah.
All the rebels get together and all these guys, and he's trying to make peace. They're trying to do a ceasefire. And sometimes I would go to these conferences.
During the Civil War.
Yeah, during the Civil War. Wow. And I would go to those, and I was like, what happened to, because sometimes I couldn't go into some of those rooms and meetings. Yeah. And I was like, what happened today? And we just talk about what it's like getting in communication with people who are trying to, like, they're fighting each other on a battlefield, and now you're trying to make peace, and what that's like kind of being a mediator. And so these are things I would talk about at 8, 10, 12 years old with my dad. So I didn't think it was different at the time, but as I got older and I became an adult, I realized that was kind of a rare, unique thing that we were discussing big life and societal problems at that age with him, because he was very involved in that kind of thing. So
yeah, totally. Okay, and what was I'd imagine there was kind of like, was it actually, I guess I'm curious, was it where things just got too out of hand and your dad was like, hey, I just need to send the family or bring the family to the U.S.? Or was it like actually things calmed down, it was handled, and then left for the U.S.?
So kind of a timeline on this. War started in 1989. In about 1990, 1991. No, well, 1990, we went to another country called Sierra Leone, right in West Africa. The war was getting closer and closer to the city. We left. And then a war started in Sierra Leone also.
Wow.
So that was a very brutal war too. It's another civil war. Civil in the 90s in West Africa, there was a lot of conflict, wars, lots of that kind of stuff happening. So when you talk about the movie Blood Diamond, that takes place in Sierra Leone. And so you'll see that kind of things, the war and all that kind of stuff happening. And so then we left, we went to another West African country. Then they tried to overthrow that government. Then we went back to Liberia. Then another war breaks out. So it's like we're constantly bouncing around throughout West Africa during this time. And then later in the 90s, in 1997, I went to another West African country called Ivory Coast. And that was peaceful for a few years. And then in 2000, I came
because they're so French.
Yeah, exactly. They like the baguettes, the bread, they like the cheese. They're like, we don't want war here.
You know, it's funny. One of the I took like 4 years of French in high school. So when you say Ivory Coast, I literally hear Côte d'Ivoire.
Côte d'Ivoire, oui, oui. Yeah. But while we were there, they overthrew the government.
Oh, shit. Well, while we're here. Oh my gosh. Wow. That's amazing. Okay, so that was kind of like the last thing you're like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
like peace,
Yeah.
West Africa,
Yeah.
going to the U.S.
Go to America.
Okay.
Yeah, it was my dream to come to America.
Yeah.
It was like I used to lie down on the floor listening to bullets go by at night, and I would just picture being in America. Like
Wow.
the kids on all the toy commercials, they're all happy and playing with their Nerf guns and all this stuff. And I'm listening to bullets going by, and I'm like, man, I wish I was in America playing with a Nerf gun. And that would be like what I would do. I would just close my eyes and I would just picture being in America, going to have a cheeseburger. You know, it's like I would just picture all this. So it was like a dream to escape this area, this chaotic scene, and come to America. You know, and then make something of myself here.
Yeah. Wow. And did you share that with your family? Like, did you share that dream? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told my dad. My dad knew I wanted to come. We had to find kind of the right time and where it would be. And of course, it's not when you come to America through the legal process. There's a lot of ways to come to America legally.
Mm-hmm.
Once you do it through the legal process, it's a very lengthy process.
Mm-hmm.
It's long. You gotta have a visa first just to get here.
Yeah.
And then when you get here, depending on what you have, you can then change and adjust your status depending on what you qualify for.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about a decades-long process.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
Decades,
very long.
plural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I know people have been here for 18 years and they don't have their citizenship done yet.
yeah, it's a long, long process.
Yeah.
To do it the right way.
How do you feel about the U.S. immigration system? Like, in the current situation, just your personal opinion.
So
And sorry for interrupting you as
Yeah.
you're answering me. The reason I ask is because I had, before probably like 2021, I had no reality on immigration. I knew there were people that came to the U.S., but I didn't know any of them.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up in a small town, like hadn't really met anybody from other countries. A little bit when I went to college, but even now, it still wasn't even real to me then. And then I started actually like employing people. Like, I probably employ like 10 or 12 people right now who weren't born in the U.S.
Wow.
Right? Mix of citizens, like people who are here on semi-permanent, like green cards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as I've met and gotten to work with the people who actually have come here legally, the situation with immigration and whether it's enforced or not, as stuff has become a lot more real to me. And I've been like, look, it should definitely be easier to get here, but it's like this kind of thing where it's like just cool for people to like just come in and be here. When I have an employee who's literally spent $50,000 in legal fees over the last 5 years, handling her immigration status to get her citizenship, I'm like, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What's your viewpoint on that?
So America is the most desirable country in the world. And America also taken more immigrants legally than any other country on earth.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There's no other country that accepts more legal immigrants than the United States of America.
Really?
Yes. Other countries are like, oh,
Wow.
we want to hit this target, we're going to get close. So it's the most in-demand country, and they accept the most number of people. You would think they could say, we don't want to accept anybody.
Right.
Because we're so in demand.
Yeah.
Yet Americans and the United States of America is very willing to accept people. At one point, they even did a lottery where you could win a lottery to get a green card, and you bring your whole family.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways to actually come to America legally.
Yeah.
There's many different options. I know people from villages in Africa who were determined to come to America.
Yeah.
The first thing they had to do was get to the capital in Monrovia.
Yeah.
Survive a war, get to the capital in Monrovia,
my
figure out to
gosh.
get a visa. And I know people who waited 1 year, 2 years to get a visa.
They're
come
like
here.
going like through the bush trying to not to get spotted by like the trucks with AK-47s driving up and
Yeah.
down the road. Like literally, right?
Yeah. And these people survived.
crazy.
And they made it, and they're here in America today. And they did it all
Wow.
legally. So it can be done by somebody who has the willingness to do it. I think you have to respect the laws of any country that you're in, especially if you're wanting to be an immigrant in that country. The interesting thing is there's over 50 countries in Africa. And so they all have a border and all have an immigration system. And you can get deported. if you violate the immigration system. It happens all the time, even in African countries. It happens all the time everywhere around the world.
Yeah.
And these countries enforce their borders. Matter of fact, right now there's a border dispute happening between Liberia and another country called Guinea, which is a French-speaking country in West Africa, Guinea. And so they're enforcing their borders. They're like, why'd you cross our border? Go back on that side, you know? So even them, they're enforcing their borders. Yeah. So why would a country that is the most desired country in the world for people to come to not enforce its own borders? Yeah. That doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah. So there's a process where you can come here to America legally, like I did, like millions of people have done, and I think that's the right way to do it.
Yeah, amazing. I agree. Okay, so getting into life in the U.S., at some point you discovered what we love and are here on some level to actually talk about, and that's Scientology.
Yeah. How
did you find Scientology?
Interestingly, I found Scientology when I was still in Africa.
What? Oh, wow. Plot twist.
Yeah.
I did not expect that.
And
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What year?
In 1997, 1998.
Really?
In a magazine.
Oh.
I'll tell you exactly how.
Yeah, tell me.
So I loved American movies. I would watch American movies all the time. And I would see this famous actor, and I was like, what is their life like? I would see these different actors, right? Yeah. And like, what are they really like? So I read these magazines like People Magazine and other types of magazines like that to find out, you know, what are they like? What are they up to? What are they doing when they're not making movies? Things like that. And then I would read about, it would say like Tom Cruise, Scientologist. I'm like, what is that? What does that mean? What is that word? Instantly, that word is like something. There's something about this word. What is that? And I couldn't find out what it was. But then I'll read again, John Travolta, Scientologist.
Where did you go to try to find? I mean, there's no internet.
No, I would just like read the article, and like they would mention.
Didn't say anything more about it.
They would say things. They would say things like Celebrity Center. Yeah. I was like, oh, there's a center for celebrities. That's kind of cool. So I would like read about it, and I understood it was kind of a religion, but I never heard about it before. But I was very interested in it because these actors that I liked were Scientologists. Every time I saw the word Scientologist, I liked the actor. And I thought the actor was super cool. And I'm like, oh, dude, I must like something about Scientology. I didn't know anything about it. That was my conclusion, man. I was like, I'm like, they all seemed happy, the same productive. They were like, in the 90s, these guys were in some of the biggest movies around. So even in West Africa, people were watching all of these guys' movies, and they loved them. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. And so
and you're really only seeing the top of the top because just the top movies get such broad international distribution. Yeah.
Wow. So these guys were doing great, and I loved them. And then when I came to America, I started to find out a little bit more about it. I was curious. I wanted to know, what is it about? Why are these guys in it? And why are they saying it helped them? Like, what is it? But I could never really find out what it was. Yeah. And then
was this like just like in the back of your head, or like yeah? Did you bring it up to your parents or family at all, or no?
No, I never talked to anybody about that.
You never talked to anybody about it.
No.
You're just wondering. You're just like, what is this?
What is this thing? What is Scientology? What's that word? I didn't really know to look up words. I just read the article and look at things, what they said, and I knew about Celebrity Center in Los Angeles. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe Scientology is for actors in Hollywood. That was kind of my thought on it. And then after I came to America and I got into business, and so this goes into how I found Scientology again in America. And I got to a point where I was trying to grow my business, but my business had reached a plateau, and I just couldn't get beyond this plateau. This was around 2016, 17. And then about 2016 or so. And then I came across a guy named Grant Cardone.
Was the business is the financial services?
Business, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah.
So we had done well. We started growing it and everything. And I was like, okay, it just reached a plateau where I just couldn't break beyond this point of expansion. Yeah. And so I started looking who's successful around. And I came across Grant Cardone. And this guy's like saying everything I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, this guy's saying everything I'm thinking. Who's this guy? And so I read his books and everything. And then one day I'm watching a video, and he says, Scientology is responsible for over 90% of my success. And I was like, oh, holy shit, this guy's a Scientologist. I'm like, so I'm like, oh, it makes sense to me. These actors were all happy and productive, and they were successful. And here's a guy who's like happy, productive, great family, and successful, and he's a Scientologist.
And this is like 17 years later.
Yeah.
Right? Or more.
Yeah. So I'm like, I tried to look it up. I couldn't find information that really agreed that I thought was good. I found all kinds of propaganda. And the moment I started looking at it, I'm like, dude, I grew up in West Africa. I've seen propaganda. I know what propaganda looks like. So I know when something's a hit piece. I know when something's negative. So I'm like, oh, this thing's not going to tell me the truth. This is garbage. It's not going to tell me the truth. And so I kept looking and looking and looking until I came across Grant. And then that made sense because that aligned with the successful people I saw who were Scientologists.
Dude, that is so crazy. That's the reason I'm freaking out is because I had a very similar experience where I was I just studied a lot of different stuff before I found Scientology, right? Because I was looking for something. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I found is that anything that even like helped a little bit with someone like handling a problem that they have, right, that didn't involve drugs, it would be attacked by the mainstream media. Mm-hmm. And so by the time I got to looking at Scientology, by the time I actually found Scientology through one of Grant's books, by the way, as well.
Nice.
Yes, there we go. I knew that all the negative press, right? The black propaganda, like you said. Mm-hmm. I knew, I was like, oh, well, if they dislike it, there must be something here. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people are becoming more aware of that. Yeah. Like on a massive, massive scale. Like if the mainstream media attacks something, like the president, perhaps, right? It's probably like, there might be something to look at there. Like they're probably on some other agenda that has nothing to do with the rightness or wrongness of the thing. Yeah. So you should actually just go look yourself. That was what I realized, is I'm like, wow, I'm going to have to go look for myself because I can't trust what any of these people actually say. Yeah, because I couldn't trust, because what they said about this other thing was a lie. Yeah. So now I don't trust them about this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They lied to you once. That's their operating basis. So they keep lying to you about different things.
That's right.
So you got to go look for yourself.
Yeah. Wow. That's so amazing. Okay. So you started where or what did you do? Because you found it. You're like, he's a Scientologist.
Yeah. So after he had a conference in 2017, I went to that conference
in Miami.
This was in Miami. Yeah. With my wife and my son, we went to the conference together as a family. Yeah. And so after that conference, I came home and I Googled Scientology in Atlanta because that's where we lived at the time. Yeah. And there was a Scientology ideal org there. So it was a church that's there. Yeah. And it was just like a beautiful building. And it was like, I looked online and like, welcome.
Just to clarify, ideal org is basically just like a very large church of Scientology. Delivers many, many, many services. It kind of just a full array of Scientology services are delivered there. Yeah. And they can help a lot of people because they make the building really big.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it was like, okay, let's go. So I told my wife, Chelsea, let's go check it out. So we go there on the same day.
What did she say?
She's like, okay, let's go. Well, I picked a great wife. I picked a wife who I wanted to make sure that I wanted to keep growing in life. Yeah. And so I had to find somebody who wanted to keep growing in life as well. Mm-hmm. So before we got married, before we even started dating, I grilled her. Yeah. Asked her like a million questions so I could find out what she wanted out of life, where she was going, what she wanted to do. And because it aligned so well, we had similar goals and purposes in life. It was great for us to start a relationship. She's attractive, but it wasn't like, oh yeah, let's get together because you're attractive. So there's got to be other things. So because she's somebody who also wants to keep growing and learning in life, she was like, yeah, let's go check it out. So we went there and we're like, okay, Grant says this is why he's successful. What's here? What do you got? And so so that's how we got started in Scientology.
Wow. Yeah. Just out of curiosity, was it his interview with Charlie, the blonde guy that they did over Zoom? Do you remember the video?
He did a video where it's him and his daughter, Sabrina.
Oh, it's that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
And somebody asked, why are you successful? And so she says, she mentions, because you know Scientology? And I was like, wait a minute, there's that Scientology again. This guy's a Scientologist. This is awesome. So I thought it was so cool.
Wow.
And yeah, it's helped me in all areas of life.
Yeah.
It's helped me. First of all, when we got there, I was trying to handle my business. So I'll go back to that. I was trying to handle my business, right? Yeah. And then started to learn different things and apply different things in Scientology. And the first year of applying this, my business that was like couldn't break through a certain point, we had a 400% increase in 1 year.
Man, that's ridiculous. So 4x basically.
Yeah. And so the stats just kept going up from there. I graphed my stats. If you see my graph before, the 2 or 3 years before that, it would compare it to where it went to and just kept going up from there.
Yeah.
So it's a phenomenal.
My business is the
result.
same, by the way.
Yeah.
People are like I put it on like a 10-year graph and it's like, boom. And they're like, what happened there? And I was like, I can't tell you. I was like, it's a secret.
I totally want to know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But it's fantastic. It's helped me in every area of life. Helped me particularly with handling trauma from war.
Yeah.
And when I came to America, I was having a conversation with somebody, and they're like, I think you have PTSD. I was like, what's that? They're like, you went through a war, dude. Your childhood was war. I think you're having this like post-traumatic stress disorder. And because I would behave certain ways where I would react to things. Like, for example, if I went to a restaurant, I could never sit with my back to the door. Ever, ever, ever. I would not be there comfortably. I had to scope out the whole environment. I had to plan 2 exits. 1 exit wasn't enough.
Yeah.
It's like if somebody comes from this side, how am I going to escape? I had to have all that down before I could even be there comfortably. I would not hear anything you were saying if my back was to the door. It would make me totally uncomfortable. When I started dating my wife, Chelsea, every time I went somewhere, she would first ask where I wanted to sit in order for her to know where she was going to sit. So it was like that type of thing.
Yeah.
And I talked to I think it was a Korean War veteran.
Yeah.
And so he and I were talking, and he still was suffering effects of war many, many years later. And he said to me, it never goes away. And I thought, well, damn, am I going to suffer this the rest of my life like this gentleman?
Yeah.
And I remember doing some of the processes and counseling Scientology. And there was one day my wife and I, Chelsea, went out, and I just picked a seat and sat down. And
without even thinking about it.
Without thinking about it.
Yeah.
And it took me a few minutes, and I realized, holy shit, I can just be here comfortably. And I was like, that was like a miracle for me.
Yeah.
And we're relatively new in Scientology at that point. I wasn't like, hey, help me with this thing. That wasn't what I was going for. But it was like...
Because you went there, you're like, I want to handle whatever's going on with my business.
Yeah. Primarily, I was going there I wasn't looking for religion. That was not the purpose of going to Scientology. And my religious background is... I'm familiar with almost every religion around.
Yeah.
I've read the Quran. I've read the Bible. I've read I've read a lot of different things, and I have a lot of admiration and affinity for religion. In Africa, all religions are there.
Yeah.
In Liberia, there's every church you can think of is there.
My impression is that African people are very tolerant of different religions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we used to hear the Muslim call for prayer sometimes. And I used to think it was cool, man. I have Muslim friends. I thought they were cool. We all got along. I went to a Methodist school. I was trained to be an altar boy in a Catholic church. I would go to the Baptist church sometimes. People invite me to the Jehovah's Witness places. We'd go or your friends would invite you, come to my church. Hey, yeah, let's go check it out. We go there. Yeah. And so it was a very normal thing and experience to have in Liberia, where it wasn't like you were against someone because of their religion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be really cool if we could get the United States to be a little more like that.
Yeah.
There's this idea of like, if you even like are borderline, if you're even like tolerant or speak highly of another religion, that it's like somehow negative for you or your religion. And that's just such a silly idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's for being the most desirable and advanced country, we kind of have that completely backwards.
Yeah.
So
you would think that, one of in the book, The Way to Happiness, L. Ron Hubbard wrote, which is a non-religious moral code. Anybody can use this. Yeah. And he talks about respecting the religious beliefs of others. Yeah. And I find that if you respect the religious beliefs of others, you get along well with other people. You know, just respect people's beliefs.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if it's not harming somebody, if their belief isn't like, let's go harm this other group, then that's one thing. But if the guy's like, yeah, this is just what I believe, then no, he's still my friend. I don't like not be a friend to this guy because he has a different view than me.
Yeah. Okay, so you went, basically you were like, okay, Scientology's helping these successful people to be more successful.
Yeah.
Makes sense. You were kind of like it was in your universe this whole time. It's like back there. You're like, did you ever think about it in between like when you read about it in the magazines and when you heard like, you know, Grant's daughter say like, you know, Scientology. I know the exact video, by the way.
Yeah.
I've seen that exact live. I've seen that video so many times. Did it ever pop up in between?
Oh yeah, lots of
Yeah.
times.
Really?
Yeah, I was looking for stuff, and I went and looked in some of the wrong places. I went and looked on the internet, and I found a bunch of garbage.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, that's where I found this is propaganda. This is horrible. This is black propaganda. This is negative stuff that
Yeah.
wasn't going to actually teach me what Scientology was.
Yeah.
You know, so I just ignored it.
Yeah. I want to ask, just because it might be helpful for people who see this. When you were looking, like I talk to a lot of people who, because I'm starting to do a lot of dissemination stuff, and I talk to a lot of people who are like, man, it seems like there's all these successful Scientologists who are just doing amazing. Little do they know, there's more than they even know who are very private people, right? Yeah. But they're like, there's these people, you know, it seems like it's good, but I've read this stuff online, I'm concerned about blah-de-blee-de-blah, right? What would you say to those people who are like, they have an inkling that there's something there? Because like for us, like we know what it is. Like we already know how much it would help anybody who used it, you know? What would you say to them? Like people who have gotten weird or bad information, like how can they know that they've gotten bad or weird information?
Yeah, so the way you look at it is like, if I wanted to learn about the Constitution of the United States, I'd go read the Constitution of the United States. I could have somebody else just tell me about it all day long, but they would be giving me their interpretation of it or their viewpoint of it. So if I want to learn about Scientology, I would go to the source of Scientology. So I would go and read something that L. Ron Hubbard wrote. I would go to the actual Scientology.org website and actually read the materials for myself. And that way I'm not getting somebody else's interpretation. So L. Ron Hubbard is the founder of Scientology. He's the most published author in history. So you can find something to read from him directly where he tells you what his philosophy is, what his viewpoint is, and you can look.
There's also a video, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, on Scientology TV, which I think is literally just called My Philosophy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's so you can see, do you agree with it or not? Does it resonate with you? You know, and if you don't agree with it, then you don't agree with it. And if you do, then now you're actually looking at the actual source of something, not somebody else's alteration of it or their view on it, or they attack it because of whatever reason they have to attack something.
Yeah.
So look, Jesus was attacked. Jesus was attacked. They crucified him.
Yeah.
That's how much people attacked him.
Yeah.
They attacked him so much they didn't want him to be around. So, you know, okay, they're not burning Scientologists at the stake, okay?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They, if you look at all the disciples around Jesus, a lot of them were attacked. They were beaten. All kinds of horrible things happened to them.
Yeah.
And all they were trying to do, what were they preaching? Tolerance.
Yeah.
They were preaching love, and they were preaching positive things. But somebody didn't like that at that time, so they got attacked for it. So it's the same thing. It just happens throughout history.
Yeah.
So now that's why I'm a big believer in religious beliefs and religious tolerance. And, you know, people should have the views on religion that they want, because with religion, it's a reminder, and it's more and more of an awareness that somebody's not just a body.
Yeah.
That you're a spiritual being. So, and that's a commonality for religions, is that you're not just this flesh and bones that's here and there's nothing else to you. So religions have a concept of a soul. Yeah. There's being a spirit, and there's more to you than just what people see. And you
will live on.
Exactly. And you can feel it. You can be around somebody, you can feel their spirit. You can feel if there's a positive person. You get around somebody and they got negative vibes. You can feel that.
Yeah.
The guy could be smiling at you, but he's got negative vibes, you know. So you can feel it.
He's holding a knife behind his back.
Exactly.
That's what you're feeling.
Exactly. So the more aware you are of
Yep.
that, the more you can do something about it. You can be like, okay, well, that guy's got a vibe about him. He's got something about him that I recognize, even though he's smiling to my face, kind of thing. So you start to be able to really see what's really there because you have an awareness beyond just, the guy's just, flesh and bones kind of thing.
Yeah. It's so interesting that you say that. Andy Holmes came on and he was talking about, so he is a Scientology volunteer minister.
Mm-hmm.
He's fully trained for that. And he's also so anyway, he's trained to deliver the services and stuff like that, right? And actually like marry people, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So he said that as a part of that course, you study other religions.
Mm-hmm.
And he studied Christianity like super deep dive. Like there's a particular book in the Bible that like LRH says, study this book in the Bible. LRH, the founder of Scientology, says, study the Bible on this Scientology course. It's just like, So anyways, the point that he made, then this was just Andy kind of just like, this is the conclusion he arrived at. This isn't necessarily part of Scientology or anything, but he was like, look, if you look at the timeline of Jesus and what Jesus was talking about, it was all centered on you will have consequences of your actions today in the future. And you don't know how far into the future. And you are an eternal soul. So be mindful of what you do today because you're going to keep living on, brother. And it's going to affect you. And he's like, basically what Jesus was doing is he was taking people's attention off of, like you said, the flesh and blood and putting it on the fact that they are immortal spiritual beings, which you walk up to a person who's not insane and you say, hey, do you think you're just a body or is there something else? Almost everyone is going to say there's something else. Right? Almost anyone I ask that question to, they're like, yeah, there's more. There's 1 billion people in India who are Hindi who believe in reincarnation. That is a part of their fundamental belief system. This is not a weird belief to believe that you're going to live on, right? And so he's like, Andy made this great point. He was like, if you look at the reason that there was so much backlash against Jesus and his disciples, is it probably has to do with the fact that the Roman Empire at the time was using fear of bodily harm, death, whatever, right? They use force, which could be pain inflicted on somebody's body to control people. That's how they control their empire. And if you get people who are no longer worried about that and will keep to their moral code, and you cannot get them to violate their moral code because they care more about their eternal soul than their immediate body, you cannot control those people. And he's like, if you look at the downfall of the Roman Empire, he's like, people say the Mongols, blah, 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 whatever. But he's like, that actually seems to correlate more. And that seems to be what they were more afraid of than anything else that could be a threat to them. And I was like, God damn, dude, that's a great point. And it's so funny because he literally walked through the same thing you just walked through, which is like Jesus's teachings were you live on. It's not just about this. Like this is important. This will affect you, what you do here and now, but it's not about just this. Right? There's so much more that you're going to experience as an immortal soul. So that was like when he made that point about the Roman Empire, I was just like, mind blown. But from your viewpoint, you've seen like similar things. Sounds like you come to a similar conclusion.
And I graduated from Christian Liberty Academy.
Oh,
that was
wow.
my high school. So most of my life I went to Christian schools. So I studied it every day. We read in the Bible. We had to come up with Bible verses. So you'd be at school, and sometimes they're like, "Hey, you, give me a Bible verse," and you have to give a Bible verse. And then
oh wow.
So you had to learn different things, and so
give me
you
a
had
Bible
to really,
verse.
John 11:35, I think it is. Jesus wept. It's the shortest verse in the Bible.
What was he weeping about?
Oh, you got to read it to find out.
Okay, fine.
But he's weeping about the conditions in life. It's like, he looked at the conditions in life and he was trying to improve conditions in life and want to understand, like you're saying, talking about beyond just this lifetime. And it might be John 10:35, not 11:35. So
somebody can let us know. If it's wrong, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll put the right one in the
Correct
show
me in the
notes.
comments.
We'll put the right one in the show notes. We'll put the whole verse in the show notes, okay?
So I loved it. I love studying about different religions. It was all interesting to me.
Yeah.
So And I never stopped believing, I never stopped being Catholic. And I never stopped, I never said, I renounce being a Catholic or I renounce anything. I just started studying and applying Scientology. And there were questions I had in life, and Scientology helped me to find the answers I was looking for.
Yeah.
And so it was just helpful for me.
Good. So question on that. In your journey in Scientology, have you ever been asked to renounce any other religion?
No, never.
Yeah. Have you ever seen anyone who has been asked to renounce any other religion?
No, never.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for nobody seems to actually care.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, what are you doing right now? How are you living your life? And how can we help you improve the way you're living your life?
Yeah.
So question for you. And so one thing about Scientology that I love personally, that I actually loved about it from the beginning, is the concept of the 8 dynamics, starting with just yourself, your body, going all the way up to basically infinity, which is supreme being, God. The coolest, one of my favorite things about Scientology is it actually doesn't address belief about God or a supreme being. It's like, that's to you. It's like, over to you. Like, we're not gonna dictate that to you. So this really isn't a Scientology question. This is actually a personal question. What do you believe about God?
Well,
This is Martin's belief.
I believe there's a God. I don't believe that all this just happened by chance. I believe this is a causative thing that is just caused. And I believe that in your own universe, you're the God of your universe. Yeah. And to the degree that you're causing things to happen in your world versus you're the effect of something that happens to you. Now, that's not to say I'm blasphemous in saying that there's not a God of a God in the traditional sense that created all this. I do believe there's a God that created all this, right? And I do believe that we're, as like in the Bible says, we're made in the image of God. So if you're made in the image of God, image is not just the physical body. Image is all kinds of different things. You're made in the spirit. So it means you have the abilities to create, to think a thought and make it materialize in the physical universe, and cause things to happen, cause effects to happen. Yeah. So that's my view on it. I believe in God, but I also believe that the spiritual nature of man is that he can create and do things himself. He can solve a lot of his own problems if he understands how those problems are being caused in the first place. He can be cause over his problems. Yeah. And that's something that I think is very empowering about Scientology, because then it's not just about you waiting around and being an effect. A lot of people say heaven help those who help themselves. Yes. Well, yeah, if the guy starts moving in a direction, all of a sudden he finds that other people are showing up to help him. He's more causative. He's moving in a pro-survival direction. Yeah. So rather than just sitting there and saying, well, I'm just going to wait for, something to happen to me. You got to go out there and make something happen. And so that's my view on that.
Wow, dude. I wish we could do like audience applause or something. Yeah. That was amazing. Thanks. Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, and so now so that was 2017, roughly 9 years now. You've been in and around Scientology. You were a Scientologist. What's changed in your life? Like how has it affected your life and your business? Other than the 400% year one increase, obviously notable.
Yeah. So it's helped me in all areas. So some of the biggest areas is like communication, right? And being able to sit there and communicate with somebody and really receive that communication, acknowledge what they said to me, make sure I duplicate or understand it and communicate back to them. Just that alone, where people can feel like you hear them or you receive their communication or they can talk to you. A tremendous amount of my friends call me to talk to me about problems in their life. And they'll tell me, I don't have anybody else I can talk to. Buddy of mine, the other night, he and I were having a conversation. He's having problems in his marriage. He lost a sibling. He's dealing with that. He's like, I have nobody else I can talk to. And he was thanking me for being there so that he can have that communication cycle with me, that I can receive that communication and then help point him towards things that can help him. So we have things like that happen in my communication. Obviously, it's helped my business tremendously. My business has grown every year since we've been applying Scientology principles. So it's growth and expansion, communication with my son, my siblings, with people.
Yeah.
It's also helped me understand this concept of like bad or false information. Because we have a financial services business. And this is one of the most emotionally charged subjects on the planet. On the subject of money, almost anybody you know, if I've experienced one of these, they've been betrayed on a subject.
Yep.
They've made a financial mistake before, or they've had some sort of loss on the subject of money.
Yep.
Almost everybody you know has had one or all of those things happen to them.
I've got multiple of all three of those.
So you're talking about a very charged subject.
Yeah.
And very emotionally charged. And imagine a person is going through life having to still deal with money and make financial related decisions every day. With last year, they suffered a loss. They tried to do something and failed. They tried to make an investment that went bad. So now this person has all of that on them, weighing on them while they're trying to move forward into making financial decisions.
And they have to continue operating in financial, like they have to still deal with money.
Yeah,
They have to still confront it every single day because it's just put in your face every day.
exactly.
Yeah.
So the average person is trying to solve, how do I live better? How do I handle my personal economics in life? How do I get along well with my spouse, my
Dude,
family?
I love that you said personal economics.
Yeah,
Because economics has a different definition. It's more accurate definition than finances
Yeah.
when it comes to a household.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like you're trying to handle your personal economics, and you're trying to rise up and increase your standard of living, and so that you're less and less the effect of money and more causative on the subject of money, finances. How do you do that? And because I've been able to understand many different things in Scientology, I could take complicated subjects and make them simple enough to people to understand. And actually, knowledge is supposed to move from complexity to simplicity.
Yes.
Is authorian.
As you understand a subject more,
Exactly.
you go from having it's so complex to no, it's actually quite simple.
It's simple.
Yeah.
And the people who try to make it complex, they try to position themselves as an authority or pompous, or I'm so much better, I know all this.
Professional.
Yeah. And it's going downward. So all you have to look at is this person making it simple or making it complex? And if somebody can take a subject that somebody finds to have a lot of emotional charge that people really want to get handled, but when they go into that area, to confront that area, start talking about finances, maybe they think of losses they've had, or they think about when they were betrayed, or when they failed at something. When you have all those different things happening in life, it can hold a person back from reaching their full potential on what they want to do, especially in that area.
Yeah.
So Scientology has helped us really understand, when I'm talking to somebody else, I'm talking to another spiritual being, whether that person's aware of it or not. I'm talking to another spiritual being. And a lot of times what passes as financial advice in our society today is it's like tactical. What's the best stock, and what's the best investment, and should I buy real estate right now? It's very tactical.
Should I buy
thing.
Bitcoin?
Yeah, should I buy? So these are a lot of the question. The tactical, which is actually, when you look at a scale of goals,
Yeah.
it's not very high on a scale of goals. So
Yeah.
so if you look at your goals and purposes, what are you trying to do in life, and then how do you back that up to how does money as a tool help you play the games you want to play, and help you to not play the games you don't want to play.
Yeah.
Because there's certain games people play because they have to play that game because of where they are
But
financially.
they don't actually want to.
They don't want to play that game.
Yeah.
So money allows you to buy out of that game. You're like, nope, I don't want to play that game. Boom, I'm next game,
Yeah.
different game. I got choices, right? So when you start looking at personal economics, you start looking at, there's games I want to play, and I'm handling things. And Scientology helped me to understand how to break down things simple. Like another concept we talk to people about is a separation of tasks or hats. So in studying Scientology, there's a course you can take called Student Hat. And it really, for me, the big win I got from Student Hat is I can learn anything. I can learn any subject, no
Yeah.
matter what it is.
To just give a little explanation, the Student Hat course essentially is something which teaches you how to wear the hat of being a student, or like Martin said, learning how to learn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I realized, and the term hat comes from like a policeman wearing a hat or a fireman wearing a hat. So a hat is like a post or a job or a function.
Yeah.
So I realized when it comes to money and personal economics, there's different hats people have to wear, and they don't realize these are different hats. The same person can wear those hats if they understand that they're different hats. So the hat of making money is one hat, how to make the money. There's another hat on how to manage the money, and there's another hat on how to invest the money. These are different hats.
You're right.
If you look at a company, like if you look at an investment company, they'll have different roles. One role will be like a chief executive officer. Sometimes they may have something called a chief revenue officer. And their goal is to create the revenue of the company. That's the making of the money. Then they'll have a chief financial officer. Their job is to tell the money where to go, how to direct it, and make sure that all these things and projects they want to do, they can afford to do it.
Yeah.
That's managing the money.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they'll have a chief investment officer. And their job is to take the capital and invest it somehow, and they're in charge of investing that capital. There are different skills and different hats, and you also operate with a different viewpoint. Like when you're making money, doesn't actually have a lot to do with money. It's the money itself is towards the end result of it.
Yes, that's right.
So
Yes.
it's a skill. So people think if somebody makes a lot of money, they're not necessarily good. They're not always good at managing their money. Look at athletes. A lot of pro football players, unfortunately, they can make a lot of money because they have a great skill set. They can get a lot of attention, great skill set. People want to pay a lot of money to see them. So that skill is worth a lot in the society. They get paid a lot of money. But they've never been trained on how to manage it. And they're often very poor investors. And you can actually look out on the flip side. You take people in the financial industry, they get trained on how to invest money. So they get trained on like the investment process and everything, but it doesn't mean they know how to make money. So a lot of times the financial advisor may not necessarily make the most amount of money around because he doesn't have the hat. He doesn't really learn the hat of making money. So you'll see a lot of financial people are very much in a conservative emotional tone level, very conservative and all this, and you got to wear a white shirt and a certain tie, whatever.
Yeah.
And so when a person's at a conservative emotional tone level, they don't seek a lot of attention.
Yeah.
They kind of withdrawn a little bit.
Oh, totally.
And
Absolutely. Like, let me do my thing. Nobody look at me.
Yeah.
Nobody get too excited. Keep it calm. Okay. Keep it professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Hubbard talks about money flows towards points which attract pro-survival attention.
That's right.
So if I want to make a lot of money, like the guys in the stadium, they make a lot of money because look how much attention's on them.
That's right.
Look at the artists playing big stadiums and recording their music, a lot of attention on them. So pro-survival, like creating art, the guys providing entertainment, whatever.
Yeah.
So you start looking at that. If the financial professional doesn't understand this concept, they limit their economic production, how much money they can really make. And that goes for anybody, whatever it is they're doing. Like you're very good at what you're doing. You're out there putting these messages out and people seeing you on TikTok and all these. And I see all your videos and then it gets attention and people really then want to do business with you and they feel like they know you.
Yeah.
So it's like that sort of thing. But if you're at a low emotional state where you're so conservative and you don't want people to look at you or see you and you're going to hide, you're not going to make as much money. But when you start getting into excitement, exhilaration, action, games, you're like, damn, let's do this. Let's roll. Let's go play. And then all of a sudden people are like, I like that guy. I want to do business with you.
Yeah.
You can make money based on your enthusiasm and exhilaration and your tone level alone.
Yeah.
And that's something I learned in Scientology. If you're a high tone, positive person, boom, you get attention. You say hi to people.
Yeah.
My wife does this all the time. She says hi to everybody.
Yeah.
She's one of the most in communication people ever. She'll talk to everybody. She waves hi to all the homeless people. So I do the same thing now because it's like, but with her,
it's a good lesson.
It was like she says hi to everybody.
Yeah.
They are very friendly to her. And all of a sudden, they start saying hi to her first.
Oh.
You see that? She brings up their
Outflow
communication.
and then you get inflow.
Exactly. She brings out their communication level.
Damn. Wow.
So my wife can walk down the street. Nobody's going to mess with her. Why? She's in communication. People think they have to ignore the people. No. You get in communication with the person. And once you get in communication with the person, Now you bring up, you have your emotional tone level to that person to see that she's enthusiastic, to see she's in action, saying hello in communication.
Yeah.
Start doing that, you start bringing the people up more.
Yeah.
People want to be around you. They want to do business with you. So those are some of the things where you start looking at it, and it's not the technical, it's not the tactical thing. Like it's so people get so tactical on the subject of money.
Yeah.
When you start getting to goals, purposes, higher tone levels, and you start to see that, and you're like, oh, this is how it really works.
Yeah.
Because now you're dealing with another being, and now they want to exchange with you because they're seeing you. Of course, you got to have the chops to do the technical parts.
Yeah.
But of course, if you're competent enough, you'll be able to do that very easily.
Yeah.
But it's the higher level things of really communicating with another being. Yeah. And so Scientologists helped me with that. And so it's hard for you to see that on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
But you see that but you see that in the communication. You see that on my graph, though. Mm-hmm. You see that on my gross income graph. So there you go.
You can see it on the graph. Yeah, dude, it's the same thing. When we graph every week, one of the major graphs that I look at, like you talked about, I spend a lot of my time and attention on getting attention, right? We graph how many people we reach on a weekly basis on across all of our platforms on social media. And always, if it spikes, I know 4 to 6 weeks later, because there's a little bit of a lag, I'm going to have a spike in sales. It always happens.
Yeah.
If it goes through the roof, I'm like, I got to control myself. Don't spend any money. I'm like, hold on, just hold it. Because I know it's coming. I'll get excited and I'll be like, oh, I can start spending. I have to actually I've gotten myself in trouble because it's so predictable that I'll just be like, oh, I can just go and So I completely agree. I've gone over probably the same references for Mr. Hubbard on attention and money and how the two interact and how they behave. And I've come to the same conclusion, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. So question for you, question we ask every guest. In your own words, what is Scientology?
Scientology is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to find out who you really are, what you can do, and what your full potential is. And it's a system that can take you from wherever you are today, whatever condition you are, to a higher state of existence.
Yeah.
So a person could be in a condition where things are crashing around them, in a condition of danger, where they feel like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. And you can actually, through applying principles in Scientology, turn that around. Going from crashing to turn around. You can go into a normal operating condition, into affluence, into a condition of power.
Yeah.
And so Scientology can predictably do that. So it's an opportunity for somebody to look for themselves and find out what it is for them.
Dude, that's so good. That's a great answer.
Thank you.
Okay, so that isn't my last question, though. My last question for you is if you could say something to Mr. Grant Cardone, who it seems really kind of like actually put it there for you to go find the thing you've been looking for.
Yeah.
What would you say to Grant?
I would say, Grant, thank you. And thank you for your courage, your example, and for actually following through. It's phenomenal what you've built, and it's phenomenal what you've done to just be an example, because just you saying Scientology is responsible, over 90% of my success, is what got me to go to Church of Scientology, to find out for myself. And now we're doing things all around the world. We're doing things with Drug-Free World, for example, in my home country of Liberia, where 20% of the people are on drugs. The average age in Liberia is around 19 years old. So we're going in there to try to turn that around. And so far, we've gotten 179 volunteers in Liberia distributing Drug-Free World material, holding events in schools, teaching kids, going to neighborhoods. People are setting up, former addicts are getting together to read these materials. People are going into public markets and, like on a loudspeaker, reading the booklets.
Wow.
If somebody like you didn't have the courage to just be a Scientologist, I don't know that I would have found it as I found it and applied it as I've done to create the success in life that I have. And we're just scratching the surface, man.
That's right.
There's a lot more to do.
That's right.
There's 500 million people in West Africa.
In West Africa?
Just in West Africa.
Oh
almost $500 million just in West Africa alone.
How many people on the continent, do you know, roughly?
Over 1 billion.
Wow.
Over 1 billion. And they're growing pretty fast. There's 480 something million just in West Africa alone.
Is it not the fastest growing continent in terms of population?
It might be.
I'm
it is
pretty
the
confident
youngest.
it is.
Yeah, it's the
Oh,
youngest. So it's like you have all these young people there looking for opportunity, looking for things to do, and they know they are more than just what they see in the mirror.
Yeah.
And they want solutions, and they want to be productive.
Yeah. Well, we might know some solutions for them. By the way,
so.
that actually wasn't my last question. I did want to actually talk about the drug-free world activities that you're doing.
Yeah.
Can tell me about that?
Sure. So, drug-free world. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, how would you define that activity for somebody who might not know what it is?
Okay.
And the title kind of gives it away, but what's the push? What's the drive?
Well, Drug-Free World is the largest non-governmental drug education program in the world. And it's based on the materials from L. Ron Hubbard, and it really gives people the truth about what drugs are and what they do, what effects they have on them. And for example, people may not realize alcohol is a drug, but all drugs are poisons. It's only the degree, if you take so much of them, they poison you, you can die. Mm-hmm. So when you understand what they are, then you can make better decisions about them. Whenever I used any kind of drug before in the past, I didn't really know what was in it. Somebody said this will make you feel good, this will make you more social, this is fun, whatever. They never tell you the bad stuff about drugs. If anybody's giving you drugs or selling it to you, is always going to tell you it's really, really good, it's awesome, you're going to love it, whatever.
You mean they don't tell you that you're going to wind up in a public bathroom, passed out on the floor with no money, your family hates you, you've stolen from everyone you know, and you're extremely ashamed of yourself? They're not going to tell you that?
They totally ain't going to tell you that, because then you ain't going to buy it, man. So it's like we started volunteering with Drug Free World with NFL youth football camps. A lot of these pro football players have these camps that they do, and then we'd go there, we'd set up a booth, and the kids would take a little course, and it would be entered to win a signed football from the athlete. And it was awesome. Really cool. So we got the kids to sign a Drug Free World pledge, the pledge to be drug free. And then in August 2025, there was this big march in Liberia. It was this huge national thing. It was in all the newspapers. And it was about people who had gotten tired about the drug situation in Liberia. 20% of the population is on drugs in Liberia. And there's no real solution how to handle this. Yeah. And so...
Is this street drugs?
It's all kinds of things.
All kinds, yeah.
And it's cocaine, it's marijuana. It's like there's one called Kush. That's a mix of... fentanyl and a bunch of other things. So people would die in the streets taking some of these drugs. And there's a lot of synthetic drugs in Africa because they get mixed with all kinds of cheap compounds and things, and then they put it on the streets. And so they get tested on people there. And so they are often the test cases, and some of them die from testing it. And that's how you know, there's too much of this in there, it's going to kill them. Oh, wow. Because the goal of the drug dealer isn't to kill you, is to get you so high and strung on it that you keep going back for more and more and more. Yeah. So they test it on people over there.
Within
these
an
drug
inch
dealers.
of death.
Yeah, exactly. That's their goal. So basically, when I show this to my wife, she and I were talking about it, and she's like, "Let's go get drug free into Liberia." So that's some of the things we were talking about, and then we went and got the International Association of Scientologists. They fortunately and thankfully sponsor Drug Free World. So even you and myself, some of our support goes to help and fund.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Drug Free World. Yeah. So we got materials. And then we got materials, shipped them to Liberia and put together a team. And I've been running all that from over here. And so it started where every week we start having events. Then some weeks we had, almost every day we would have an event. We had different partners that would go, this team out of the 179 volunteers, this group would go to this school. So the group would go to another school, and they would go into the classrooms. Yeah. And the people are very thankful for this materials. So we capture videos, we capture all kinds of pictures and things like that. Yeah. And we distributed 25,000 booklets in Liberia. Yeah. And there were so many more people reached than the booklets. We reached tens of thousands of people. But you're talking about a massive, massive problem in Liberia. So it's just really getting started. And so the office of the president of Liberia called us to say thanks for bringing drug-free world to Liberia. And a senator in Liberia reached out to us to say thanks for bringing drug-free world into Liberia. So we want, our goal is, and this will happen, is to make drug-free world a national drug education program for the Republic of Liberia.
Yeah.
So we want it in all the schools. We want churches. We want people who want material. So if you're watching this and you have an organization, you have a church, you have a group in Liberia, and you want materials, reach out to us, leave a comment, and we will get you materials. So award-winning materials. These are fantastic materials. People love them. They've been all around the world, and people really make a difference. So one little story about it is there was a kid in school who's like, he took another copy to give to his older brother who's using drugs. So he's, a younger brother is taking responsibility for an older brother to help him to get off drugs by giving him these booklets. So
Amazing.
Phenomenal stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Bro, love what you're doing. You're amazing. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
And just to wrap, remember, something can be done about it.
Absolutely.
Right, Martin?
Absolutely.
Don't do nothing.
Don't do nothing.